Ever sat in a room full of laughter and realized you were the only one not supposed to be there? That's how I felt, standing behind a kitchen door, dressed in black, pretending to be part of the staff, while my son got married. The music was soft, elegant, violins, champagne glasses, designer gowns. Everything looked perfect. Except for one tiny detail, his mother wasn't on the guest list. I didn't want to make a scene. I just wanted to see him smile, even if it meant hiding in the shadows. But the thing about silence? It has a way of screaming inside you. When his father left, my son was barely 3. No savings, no plan, just me, and a world that didn't make space for single mothers. I cleaned houses, waited tables, anything to keep the lights on. There were nights I'd walk home with my feet bleeding in cheap shoes, whispering to myself, one day, he'll understand. And he did, at least, I thought he did. He'd hug me tight, promise, when I grow up, I'll take care of you, Mom. You'll never have to work again. I believed him. Every word. But somewhere along the way, that promise faded, buried under ambition, and a girl named Lila. Lila's family was the kind you see in magazines. Country club dinners, weekend getaways, and smiles so polished they reflected light. They never said it out loud, but I wasn't their kind of people. When I first met her parents, I brought my homemade pie, warm and sweet, just like I always did. Her mother looked at it, smiled tightly, and said, "Oh, how quaint. We usually don't eat dessert before dinner." That's when I knew, they didn't just dislike me, they wanted me gone. From that moment, every interaction with my son started to feel filtered. Less laughter, more excuses. Less Mom, more Marilyn. It's funny, when people start treating you like a burden, they always call you by your first name. When the wedding came up, he said, "It'll be a small thing, Mom. Just close family." I smiled and said I understood. But inside, my chest caved in. Because if I wasn't close family, who was? Days passed. No invite. No call. Until one night, I saw Lila's post, a picture of the venue. Fairy lights, rose arches, the caption, "Tomorrow's the beginning of forever." That's how I found out my son was getting married the next day. I told myself I'd just go see him, just for a minute. I put on my nicest dress. The one I wore when he graduated. I even did my hair, shaking the whole time. When I got to the gate, the coordinator smiled politely. "Name, please?" I said it proudly. She paused, checked her list, and then looked up, eyes soft, voice flat, "I'm sorry. You're not on the list." I stepped aside. My throat burned, but I kept it together. And that's when I saw a man walk through the back carrying trays. So I followed him. Through the service door, through the kitchen, until I could peek out from the corner. There he was. My son. Dancing. Laughing. Looking happier than I'd ever seen him. And beside him, Lila's mother. Hand on his arm, smiling like she owned him. I wasn't angry. I was numb. That's the thing about heartbreak, it's quiet. It doesn't shout, it just sits there and eats away at you. I stayed until the ceremony ended. Watched him cut the cake, watched them dance their first dance. Then, when nobody was looking, I slipped out through the side door. Driving home that night, I didn't cry. I just stared ahead at the road, whispering, "You did your best, that's all you could do." But that night, I couldn't sleep. Because something inside me broke, and something else woke up. I realized I'd spent my whole life giving everything away, my money, my time, my pride, and for what? To be invisible? No more. 2 weeks later, he called. "Hey Mom. We found the perfect house. Could you send the down payment? We'll pay you back once everything's settled." I froze. The perfect house? It was mine. The same one his father had left me after the divorce. The deed still carried my name. They wanted to take my house and move in like it was theirs. I told him sweetly, "Of course, honey. I'll handle it tomorrow." Then I made a call to my lawyer. The house was moved into a private trust the next morning. Every legal string tied, sealed, and protected. 3 days later, he called again. "Mom, the bank says the deed's changed. What's happening?" I said softly, "Nothing's happening. It's just family business. You remember family, right?" He didn't reply. Another week passed. Then came a knock on my door, late at night, rain pouring down. I opened it, and there he was. Soaked. Shaking. Alone. "Lila's gone," he said, voice breaking. "She left when the house deal fell through. She said, she can't live like this." He started crying right there, on the porch. And in that moment, I didn't see the man who left me behind. I saw my son. My little boy. The one who used to leave sticky notes on the fridge that said, "Love you, Mom." I let him in. Made him tea. Sat in silence as he told me everything, how Lila's family looked down on me, how they convinced him to distance himself, how he went along with it, because it was easier than fighting them. When he finished, he looked up and said, "I'm sorry. I just wanted to make them proud." I looked at him and said, "You don't need to make anyone proud, sweetheart. You just need to remember who you are." He moved back home. "Just for a while," he said. He found a small job nearby, helped me with groceries, fixed the leaky faucet I'd been ignoring for years. Every morning, we'd drink coffee together. Sometimes in silence. Sometimes laughing like we used to. And slowly, the space between us closed. One afternoon, he stood by the window and said, "Mom, I don't deserve this house." I smiled, "Then earn it." Because that's the thing about second chances, they don't show up wrapped in apologies. They come quietly, in shared breakfasts, in new beginnings, in understanding that love doesn't need to be perfect to be real. He once promised to buy me a house so I'd never have to work again. Turns out, I already had one. And now, I finally had my son back. Some people wait a lifetime for closure. Others build it with their own 2 hands. They tried to erase her, but she rewrote the story.